Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and we are back working on winter projects. Not winter yet, but I'm getting into winter project building mode. So we mentioned in a bunch of videos and people have been asking what we're going to work on, but I've mentioned a few videos that we are going to try, and I'm going to try and focus on the 33 window with the blowing Ardun in it this winter. So I've kind of been eyeballing off camera how I want to work everything and tackle this project. And I think the best way is to kind of work at the front with any problems or issues or things I want to, fix or modify, and work my way back. So the first thing really is the radiator. So when we first were working on the radiator and I modified or customized those inner fender blisters that a 33.4 has, I had, for anybody that didn't remember, we customized them. I kind of extended them and made them fit with the channeled car and how everything's going to be without hood sides. So I got that all set, got the grill set, and as I was doing that with the grill and the radiator, Ron was working on the engine, and I didn't have it, obviously. I had a mock-up block, but I didn't have the blower and the drive system. So I had texted him for some measurements, which he had given me, and they were quite accurate, but when I was doing all this, I didn't really account for the lean back of the radiator. So when I was mocking everything up, I'm like, oh, it should totally fit, just barely fit around the pulleys. Well, then when we mounted everything in and it leaned the radiator back just a few degrees like a 33.4 has, and we mounted the engine in, it just hits those pulleys. There's needs to be modified. So what I think I want to do is customize the tank or rebuild the top tank of the radiator. A 33.4 tank hangs way over the core, and while it works well in a stock application, in this one it's going to be a problem. So I'm going to basically try and section or move that portion back, and we have to reconfigure some of the outlets anyways on the radiator. So I figure we'll do a radiator customization video today. We're going to jump right in and do a pretty difficult one. I've kind of been dreading this, but it's something that needs to be taken care of so we can work our way back and do some of the other stuff. So let's start ripping at a tearing of a stock radiator. So let's go. That little like shield they have. right, so did some cutting, some sanding, made a paper template, then like a chipboard template, and you can see we now have clearance. So basically what I did is I kind of decided to make this more flat like a 32 radiator or whatever. We also had a weird truck radiator there. It might have been 35, 6, 7, I don't remember, or it might have been modified, but it was kind of the same where it had the recess, the area for the fan that was kind of at an angle, and then just came back and was flat in here. There's a couple good things about this. Not only did this kind of clean up the engine bay, it gives us that clearance you can see between the blower pulley there. We have plenty of clearance, no issues at all. It also, I feel like, made the engine bay look not as, let me move this light, made the engine bay feel not as heavy because that radiator tank, that top tank, was hanging way over. You can actually see where it was just touching the belt here, but just a little tiny indent in the belt there where it was sitting, leaning on it. So by getting rid of that, it feels like the engine bay is like a lot less cluttered, which is good. The other thing is by putting these little flats here, we can put the small little radiator outlet bungs. So when Ron was building this all for me, he made this really trick little plate here that kind of brings, I don't even want to say plate, but it's this little sandwich riser here for the coolant that comes out the head here, goes up through here, and then comes out there, and it has a neck on it that is like the size of like APA type size there. So because of that, that's working in my advantage. I can put a small neck in this plate here that I can, weld in, and that will it gives us more room, because originally the neck had the tank had the neck like way out here, so there was like almost no room to bend a hose up in there. So now we have a little room where we can make a little S hose in there to fit in there, and it's going to come out the top on the ends, on the corners there. So that's going to work out pretty good. So what I'm going to do is use my chipboard, make up a template here. I left this little overhang here because this is for where the grill mounts. And we're going to actually, before that was actually like part of the tank, so there was coolant underneath of this. I'm going to actually change it so that my tank comes up straight underneath, and this little part here is not in the area where there's coolant. So if we ever need to, I'm always worried that if this strips out, you can't really service it too easy. So by doing that, this little area will be its own and it won't be a problem there. So that's what the plan is. I'm going to make up a piece here and see if we can get something set up that we can maybe tack weld in place. But moving along, solving problems. All right, so got the radiator and the grill all mounted back up, and everything fits pretty much as it should. We have a ton of clearance here in the front, which is good. Now we can, you know, stick our hand between the tank there. It's not overhanging, sitting on top of that. So basically by making like a flat tank. So what I was doing is I welded it some or brazed it some. Basically I was just trying to get the tank in place so we could see what's going on. I'm going to take this whole radiator once we do all our mock-ups and send it to a radiator shop to get, basically probably get a new tank made off of my crude tank modifications there. And the next thing we're going to do is basically at the bottom here, it's just more of a visual thing if anything, but this is where I have mounts that I welded. You can't really see, they're kind of hidden here, that go into the cross member and hold the radiator up. So there's a bottom strap that runs underneath the tank and supports the tank, and then that's riveted here to the side plates. So that all is holding the weight of the radiator. Also I have these side panels, these what were inner fenders, these blisters attached to the factory modified 33 grill mounting brackets, which also mount to that piece, and that all is, you know, bolted to the frame. So overall it should be plenty of strength with the heavy brackets I have that are bolted through the front of the cross member. So we don't need this foot, but it hangs down just maybe an inch. But what I'd like to do visually is, this has this beautiful 37 chrome tube axle in the front here, and I want to try and, that radiator is blocking it. So what I'd like to do, I really like, actually Rolling Bones guys do it really well. They clean up the front, they do like a suicide type front end, and it really gets that beautiful chrome tube axle kind of in plain view. So same kind of idea, if we can get this radiator so that it's not blocking the tube axle as much. Also just on the side here, it's kind of ugly having that stick down below everything. So I took a measurement. It looks like basically the thickness of the bottom tank is what we can raise it. So it's like 2 inches of height. So I'm going to take this off. I've done this before. Basically I just since we're not using the core at all, we're going to re-core it. I just basically sawzall through the core, cut those side plates, section it, and cut out the core that I don't need, put it back together, weld up the side plates, and then we have a good visual of what it's going to be, and obviously then they can just kind of fill the core in the center. So that's the plan. Gotta pull this off one more time, at least one more time, do some more cutting and modifications, test fit it again, make sure we like it, and who knows, might make another one. But this is the process for doing all this stuff, everything custom. right, so I got the radiator all bolted back in, got the grill on, the blisters, all that stuff bolted back up. Luckily, not luckily, but it's a good thing, everything fit as it should. I had everything all cut apart, and those side supports that we cut and re-welded when I sectioned the radiator, they kind of locate a lot of things. The little flaps that come off the side of them mount the grill and these blisters at the bottom. They also have those mounts for the radiator that I welded on the sides that bolt to the cross member. So if any of that stuff was off, I would have known it right away when I put everything back on. It all fit up basically as it did before, which is a good thing. Now I'll pick you guys up off the tripod and show you kind of around the car or the radiator what happened, how it worked out. So the bottom here, the big thing is now you can see that chrome grill, so the chrome axle. Don't mind my Band-Aid finger. Right there, you can see the axle now. Before, that radiator was sticking down much below that, and now you get that good shot of the smiley front axle on that. Those V860 axles are beautiful, and when they're chrome, they're even better. So that's the big thing. That's kind of made it a lot lighter. Then on the sides here, these blisters that I made or modified, and then I added those little extension there. There was a foot sitting like way down below it, so the foot was sticking probably down like here. I ended up taking 2 inches off, so basically just moved the thickness of the lower tank. I moved it up, and that's all I did there, and it made a world of difference on this thing. So those blisters now fit. They're not, the radiator isn't shouting at you, and now we have plenty of clearance here in the front. So I just silicone bronze fit that up. It's like I mentioned before, it's kind of crude. It's okay, but it's more crude than I would like. But it's basically just to give the radiator shop something that they can go off of. So basically, they're probably not going to have it like dive in like I did and sculpt it as much. They'll probably just pick like right here and just make a flat plate across, which is completely fine. But I wanted a brass radiator, brass and copper made radiator, because it's just more of an original style rather than putting an aluminum one in. Sure, I could have built an aluminum radiator, but I still want it to look a little bit old school. So these straps and all this stuff on the side is all important to me, because that all kind of is one of the things that makes it look old. So yeah, I got that radiator all modified. What we're going to end up doing, we were just talking about, we got to figure out the hoses, but I think we're going to put small hose that's going to come out on the corners here, straight out, just a little guy. Then the hose can drop down, do a little S-bend type deal here, and it can go into that. I'm going to talk to a radiator guy and see what would look, what would be better. We could come 90 out of that, but make the decision. Then at the bottom, I just chopped the flanges off there. What we're going to actually do is get rid of those straight outlets there, and we're going to put 90s right off of that, and then I'll end up cutting that little flange. I know it's hard to see down in there, but there's a little lip or flange on the front of the cross member there. We'll get rid of that, and we have enough room that we can fit that 90 in, and a hose will come up over the cross member here, and then it'll go into the water pumps there. I have the same thing on the Schroll car and the Free T. It all works pretty good. If you look at any old little books, a lot of times the way they would do it is they would actually go in between the spring and the axle, and they'd come up behind. Not a big fan of that, because that, if the suspension compresses too much, that could become a problem. So I saw a car a long time ago that did it that way, where it came in front of the cross member, and it seems to work well. So that's my long-winded way of saying we started making progress on the 33.3 window. So super stoked. Happy to be back on this thing, and I'm just going to start working my way back. So we got this taken care of. Probably going to take this to the radiator shop and have him take a look at it, and hopefully start working on it this winter. And then we're going to start working on some steering stuff and finish welding some motor mounts and different things like that, and working our way back. So that's all I have for this one. Thank you guys for following along. Let me know what you think of the 33.3 window. Are you happy that we're back working on it again? Thanks, guys. Catch you later.